So I am now up to 5 people, 3 professionals, 2 students who've asked me, so Mr. Greenstein, what do you think about the possibility of college optional test being forever? And the answer is it all depends on successful openings by September. If the SAT and ACT are not able to be given multiple times this fall, colleges are going to have to waive them as requirements. They'll start assessing the way they did 90 years ago, grades, and then other things, including pedigree, including certain other advantages that the SAT actually was made to help do away with or reduce. The people who would like to see the SAT and the ACT be no longer factors are people who I think are absolutely wayward. They claim that it helps less privileged people. No, far cry from it. Because less privileged people who have a standard can show that they can excel. And thus, colleges have the ability to admit, whereas without an SAT, those kids don't have the Guatemalan service trips. Those kids don't have the deep extracurriculars. Those kids rarely have mentors that can lead them to a science project or an entrepreneurship venture. The standardized test has done a very good job at elevating people with less privilege. So this is all COVID related because the SAT makers and the ACT makers want to have old-fashioned testing. None of them want to be doing online testing. It will not go well. We know this. So for the credibility of the SAT and the ACT, because they're not going to be able to do at-home testing with any semblance that it's fair, they need an old-fashioned test or a semi-old-fashioned. The ACT is apparently developed online entry at practice test centers. Now, these exist for the graduate school and a lot of professional accreditations. You go to a center, they queue up the test and the right answers, and humans watch. They verify that you're you and you're not getting others helping you. The ACT is a few steps ahead of the SAT in doing this. If there could be many centers to test literally 3 million people a couple times each in the fall, it could still work without schools being open. But if schools can't open, the likelihood that these same buildings that have test centers in them is probably they're not going to be able to open either. So this is about overcoming our fears of COVID. This is about not even a vaccine. It's about our fears of whether kids who have not thus far been susceptible to sickness, whether they can be okay in semi-crowded situations. If the SAT is dispensed with this year, it will be dispensed with forever. Because the competitive colleges that have then chosen to admit without regard to a standardized test are going to admit good kids. And it's going to be hard to say to the class of 2025, the next crop of kids, ooh, you guys aren't that good. You guys really got in out of luck and we'll have to go back to the old way. They're not going to do that. They're going to keep some kind of integrity by saying, we've admitted good kids. We will continue to admit without the standard. Now, in the process, they're going to go down in terms of their perceived competitiveness for getting jobs. The currently most competitive schools, the Ivies plus Stanford, Duke, U Chicago, these are going to hold up because of old-fashioned ratings. The US News, that survey, which is kind of like the gold standard, is a very flawed survey that bases the goodness of its schools on momentum. on hearsay in a way. People who perceive that school is well ranked and the other school is not. That'll carry on for quite a while. I think the more that science students from all schools enter into professional endeavors and succeed, probably equally, whether you went to a lesser ranked school, high ranked school, even community college, and they succeed in the workforce, then the importance of the SAT and the ACT will get totally wiped out. I've been doing this for 32 years. It'd be a real shame if the fear of illness, because I don't think it's an actual contamination threat to young people, okay? They are not getting sick. It is old people that are getting sick, and we hope there's vaccines or remedies really quickly, but we shouldn't be penalizing the youngsters who are actually the engines of an economy that'll eventually discover those vaccines and in the meantime take care of those older people. So this continued closure is wayward in many, many ways. All right, it's a little bit political. I am educator Mark Greenstein. Happy to be in your corner.